Why am I back with this again? Because it just got better. This thing, we did a video on it recently, and it's called the Infinity Flow S1. It is able to run filament through your printer on two spools, and when this one runs out, it'll automatically switch to the other spool. The thing that's cool about this, it requires no firmware, no changes or anything like that. You just hook it up. As long as you can feed this into your printer, then you're good to go. One of the things with it was if you run out of filament and it gets jammed on the spool, or if it just gets jammed on the spool anyways, then it would get caught and it kind of doesn't work then. So they have made a fix for it, and here we are today. We're going to install it. Looks very simple to install anyways. So I'm going to show you how to do it and what is required for it and how simple it is. So here we go. So I won't go into the full details on how this thing works and everything. If you haven't seen the previous video, it's linked in the description here. Go watch that. It'll show how this thing gets assembled and what it does and all that. So they've sent us a couple baggies here, and that's really all I have. I have no idea how this works or anything like that. So let's open it up, see what we have, see how it gets installed, and find out if it's cool or not. Just a little secret though, it is. So there is a QR code here. It shows how to do the setup, and we're going to take a look at that in a minute. Let's open it up and see what we have in all the packs here. Now, I did pop this piece off before, so I want to set that one aside, and we'll show you how this one goes together. Okay, so what we have here is a couple 3D printed parts. We got some Bowden tube, and we have two of these little things with a spring inside of it, and I don't know what else. So I'm assuming this just goes on top of it. It looks like maybe this clips into there. So let's take a look at this setup guide real quick, and we'll see what it shows in there. Unfortunately, I did try to scan that QR code, and it takes me here, so that is a broken link. Other than that, you can just click on the help, and under filament resources, it's in there. So click on the filament cutter mount specific setup guides. Under here, you have two documents. There's a setup guide and a beta version. I'm not sure the difference on those. Maybe that one was for the beta one and this one is for a different one, but let's click on each one and take a look at them. Okay, this has setup and contents. This shows everything we got. This is all looks correct to me. We only have the 1 to 3 kilogram. We don't have the 5 kilogram mount. They sent us these. We could have printed the other ones if we needed, but this is what we have, which that's what I'm going to use it for anyways. I don't have the big 5 kilogram on here. So to attach it, you're just going to pull the small little Bowden tube out of there, just like it shows, and we're going to put this on top of it. Kind of locks in place there, and insert the new tube through both of those and push down, and then attach the top piece. So that looks pretty simple. That's pretty much all there is to it. Repeat it on the second extruder. So looking back at the other guy, let's just make sure that we're not missing something here. So looking at this one, I believe this is the version that they've released. The one I have is probably beta. So it's a little bit different. I like this little teardrop looking piece here on the top. That's kind of neat because that's going to keep your filament from wearing out your Bowden tube right there as it's pulling at that angle. It's a little bit different the way it installs, but it's basically the same system. It looks like it just mounts different and maybe slightly different on the inside there. So we have our parts here. We'll do one of these at a time. Basically, this just needs to clip in. This is going to sit on top of it there and kind of lock in place. And we got to pull the old Bowden tubes out of there. Take the old Bowden tube out. I'm just going to push in right here and pull them out. Other side I already pulled out. So this just kind of slides on the side here, just like this. Kind of line it up with there, and that's all you got to do. Then we take our Bowden tube that we took out and put it back in there. And this has a little groove here and here that locks into place. So you're just going to take this and kind of put it in this groove and lock that in like that. Same thing on the other side here. If you look right here, there's actually a little lock that's embedded in here. If you press and hold that, it will keep this from pushing down. So press in on that and then push down, and that will get your Bowden tube in the top part there, just like that. So the same thing on this side. press and hold it, lock it into place. These are kind of tight fits, so you got to push a good amount there to get it in. And then that's it. So there we go. That's pretty much all we do. I do like the method that showed on the other one there that shows the little teardrop print. So I probably will print something there, because what's going to happen is over time it's going to wear out this filament, is going to wear out this Bowden tube right here as it kind of pulls down this way, and all the tension and stress is on the bottom of it. So it will wear it out eventually, but it's okay. I'll print something for that later. That's what we got. Just like the installation and the way this thing went together, it was just so simple. That's what I really like about this, and the people that have made this. They've made it so easy that you can put it on any machine without firmware changes and changing the code and everything like that. You don't have to do any of that. You just hook it up, put everything together, and feed it into your system, and it will work. And adding this to it is a huge, huge deal, because now if you get a filament jam in your side here, it will automatically switch to the next one. Before, it wouldn't do that. It would just, you would be out of luck. Or a lot of filaments have, at the very end of the spool, the filament is caught, kind of bent or even taped on, so it wouldn't work because it won't feed to the next spool that way. It'll just get jammed. But this will work. So we're going to hook this up and give it a try and see how it does. We're going to try to jam it and see if it will continue to go to the next spool or not. That did not go as planned. Unfortunately, what you didn't see behind the camera was I plugged in the wrong power supply here and just fried this whole thing. So I got a hold of them, had them send me the replacement board and the proper power supply, but I didn't find any original power supply. Anyways, I had them send a replacement here, and what they actually did was they sent the upgraded version. So that's the one that we're going to use. So we're going to pop these off and put the new style that we're going to show you here on there instead, and then we'll continue from there. But while we're down into this, we're going to go ahead and put the new board back in, plug it all in, and show you guys how that works. I guess you're going to learn that process too. So the board mounts right down inside of here with all the wires that plug into it. We're going to take a look at each one of these boards here. This is the old one. The new one is wrapped up right here. Gotta say thank you to the guys for sending this over Infinity Flow for messing this thing up and then sending me new ones so quickly. They look pretty much the same. There is a few minor differences they probably tweaked along with revision changes and things like that. The capacitors in here look like, and a couple other things, but for the most part, it's the same board. We're going to take this one and mount it in here and set this guy aside. There's a little spacer here. Basically, this is just the mount flash spacer. The screws go just like this, and it's going to go right through here and screw into this metal plate right there. So we're just going to set that down in its place and screw everything in together. Lightly tighten just a little bit. Don't want to go too tight until you get all of them started. And you don't go too tight anyways, but just enough to tighten it down. You don't want to go Hulkamania on this thing. So no Hulkamania. I always go back over them a couple times. It's because I'm OCD, so I can kind of get the feel of how tight each thing is. Okay, new board's in. So we want to plug everything in. So we're going to plug this guy here in place. Easy peasy. And each one of these, and they're pretty simple to know what goes where. Shouldn't be too difficult to figure out. There is a couple that can be different, so you do got to watch out for those. And that goes back together surprisingly easy. Everything's tight. Okay, now that we are sort of a little bit back to where we began, we're going to go ahead and do the previous version. I showed you how these go on. So let's go back and put these that they sent us. Let's put these on instead, since why not? They sent us the updated ones, you know. So we're going to go like this and pop this thing off of each one. Set those down. And we're going to take this guy here. I'm going to push down on that. I'm going to pull this little guy up out of here. That. Reach in there and push down on it. And pull them on out. Now we can slide this out like that. So go to their website here. We're just going to go into help and filament cutter resources. Under here, there's a couple documents you can take a look at. This is the one we did previously, was the beta version. And now we're going to take a look at the cutter setup guide. We're going to go through this. It's just got a quick snap fit there that's mounted in a little filament guide, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a teardrop inlet tube and the filament cutter. Kind of shows how it goes together. You just put that PTFE tube inside the cutter, push in there, nice and tight. Put your teardrop there on the top of it, and then mounts it in the little clip, and then snap the clip right down in there, and it's good to go. Very simple. That being said, let's go ahead and install this one on here. It looks a little bit easier than the previous one, actually. So I didn't know it could get easier, but it is. So let's go ahead and pop this on here. I'm going to take here and push up on this. And we're going to push this in there real tight. Make sure it's in there tight. All right. That's in. Now we want to put our little teardrop here on. I can do it. I can do it. I know I can. Clean up the edges there a little bit and clean this up as well. Give me a little bit of a chamfer in there to get that through a little bit better. There we go. That was not easy. Push and twist. You want it to seat in there. So there we go. All right. So that's in. Now we want to put our clip here on. So just go like this here. Flip one side in like that and snap it in place. And man, that fits nice. That is tight. No wobbling or anything happening there. So I'm going to use the old ones here that was in there, just like that. I'm going to push these back down in each side until they seat. And then we're going to take this and we're going to put it right here and press it right inside of that. Just like that. Okay, that's it. And it's on. Now we're just going to do the same thing right here. There's a little bit of information on this. Shows how to reset the cutter. This down here is cut. Up top is reset. And over here, if you look at where this bearing is setting, this is cut. You hit 1 and then 2 is right there. So 2 is default. So right at the top there is the default. That doesn't work right for you. Switch to 1. So we're going to try it at 2 first, and that's actually what it's already set at. Right here on both of these is already up to 2. So you can drop that down to 1 if you want. So flipping both of these down like this, now they're at the very bottom. If you push this up, you can stop there or you continue to the top. And that's all you have to do there. It may seem confusing, but it's very simple. So just flip it up there if you want, or we're going to leave it at the top for now. And if it doesn't work well, we'll switch it down one more there. Unfortunately, I don't even have any partial spools that are small enough that I really want to go for. So we're going to do like a simulation here.
Of a simulation inside another giant simulation.
I'm going to unroll this some, and down to a certain point, I'm going to tape this down or make it somehow where it can't pull any farther. And then we're going to see what happens. Okay. See if it switches and cuts it and moves to the next spool. So let's do this. Run it through here and then back out. There we go. What do you think? Think that'll pull through? I don't think so. So let's wrap this thing up, wind it up real fancy, like it was professionally done. Through here. I'm just going to set it right there and get the next spool ready. How about I just steal it from right here? All right, let's put this in its place. I do not like the way that cut that thing. It does like a smash cut. You don't want to use those types of cutters. I'm going to put this through here. All right. And I'm going to plug this thing in and see if it works. Since it didn't work before, since I blew it up. So right up underneath here, we want to plug this feller in. Just like that. Okay. Lights are coming on. We're good. We're good. Now let's bring this guy over. Why not test it on a Bambu A1, huh? So the last time we did this, we actually hooked this thing up to the boron printer right there, the Trident. So this time, since we're going to do the Bambu Labs, I'm going to show you how that happens and how we set this up, because we're going to have to pull this off, and there's a little adapter that goes in place. We'll pop that on. I'm going to print it back here on one of these printers. Really small print, takes a short amount of time, and then we're going to pop it on here and show you how that works. Then let's test this thing. If you go to the side here and look under the Bambu A1 and mini adapter, you will see there is a link. You can actually purchase this piece on the website by clicking there. If you just want to print it, You click the link there and you can download it and print it. It gives you settings on how to print it and all that and what type of material to print in. It says PLA, PETG, or similar material. We're going to use ASA because that's what I have loaded in the printer and it'll work fine. All you got to do is pop that piece off there that loads for set up for 4 filaments to go into it. We're going to put the adapter in there with the bowed and push fitting, snap it in place, and then you have basically set up where 1 filament can go into your A1. So that's pretty simple. We'll show you how it's done though. And once you download the file, open it up in your slicer. Looks like it is setting the wrong way, so make sure you do flip that to the bottom side there. You want to print it in this orientation right here. So then just go ahead and slice the file, print it on your printer. This is going to take a very short amount of time, probably 15 minutes or so. It says 26 on this one, but it won't take that long. Once you get a slice loaded on your printer, and print that puppy out. All right, our adapter's done. Let's pop it off the printer back here. Woo, that's hot potato, hot potato. And here we are. I'm going to pop this off. There we go. Ready to be put on there, and that's our adapter. I need to pop a motor adapter right there. And being the nerd that I am, I have these laying around everywhere. So this is the adapter that needs to be clipped in on this printed part. This is something it didn't show on the guide there, but a lot of these come with these little steel pieces here, kind of like a spacer. That can come off. I think it's going to be too large for this situation here. So this needs to be pressed into here like that. And then we need to pop this in place, which is kind of hard to do if you've never done this before. If you have, you know what I mean. Sometimes you use pliers or something like this. If you have crazy grip fingers like myself, you can just snap it in like that. What we want to do here is just pop up on this. If you have an A1, you've probably done this before, but lift up on this and take this off. If you have filament in here, just drop this through to do a manual cut and pull it on out of there like that. And a manual spool feeding from this instead of from the AMS. So I can take that off and get it out of the way now. That just involves unclamping this here and lifting it out of the way. Very easy. Now this actually comes with it, but we do need that spring off of there too. Just reach in there, grab the spring and lift it on out of there like that. Don't lose it. Now what we want to do is take our adapter here and drop it right down in place. So it's just going to sit down there just like this, the logo part facing the front. So that's in, and now we can put a spool directly to the top of this and it feed from our infinity flow. Now we can take our infinity flow here and plug this right into the top. Push down. Once we plug it in, feed each one down into here, the lights will turn on. Then I flip the switch and it's going to start feeding my filament down. So there it's feeding this one. And it's going through our spool here. And it's going through our PTFE tube here. And there she is. So let it get through the other side. Now when I tell it to extrude, it's feeding through here, through to the gears here on the extruder and actually feeding out of the Bambu A1. All right, so we've got a Pac-Man here. We're going to slice it. I'm just going to send it to the printer. That could not have went better. This thing here, I tangled the crap out of it. That way there's no way it could pull through there anymore. It did its job. It cut it right here. It switched to this spool and started feeding it. I stopped the print early because I didn't want to waste that whole print for nothing. But it works good. I really love this color. That was the one thing that I didn't like about this previously, was that if it gets jammed or if you get a spool that's taped at the very end, that's going to be an issue because it's not going to be able to continue feeding. So this fixes that problem without any firmware changes or anything like that. All you have to do is get this guy right here to your printer, one way or the other. There's multiple directions on how to do that. If you do need help with it, join our Discord. It's linked in the description of this video. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for us. It really helps our channel. I know people say that a lot, but please don't forget to do that. Thank you all out there. Have a great day. Let me know what you want to see next. Goodbye.